funny because there's nothing really going on. It's just a phone.
Hi everyone, I'm Paige Sachs, the Special Events and Communications Manager here at Walk with Sally. We are really excited to have you joining us today because this is the first in a 3-part series we decided to do called our Founder Series. Just as a way for us to tell you a little bit more about Walk with Sally, what we're doing here, and hopefully answer any questions that you might have that come up about Walk with Sally. So, of course, our founder, Nick Arquette, is here with me.
Hi, y'all.
I'll be asking him a few questions just to kind of get you guys in the loop on what Walk with Sally, and that's today's topic. What is Walk with Sally and who is Walk with Sally? So, Nick.
Who's your Sally?
What is Walk with Sally?
What is Walk with Sally? I think that, we could do a little Walk with Sally 101. I think really important for most people to know is that we are a 501c3, which is very important because we have our nonprofit status. And actually, we got that in 2004. But Walk with Sally really is a mentoring program for children whose parents or siblings or guardians have cancer or been impacted by cancer. And we do that by giving free support mentoring services. So we kind of put our arms around the family, and our mission really is to help these kids who find themselves one day getting the bad news of cancer. And personally, losing my mom, Sally, to cancer when I was 16 really kind of set the course for me to create what this became. And I think about those little boys and little girls who have to sit down with their mom. You're a new mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so sitting down with your little one and saying, here's what's going on, I have a lump in my breast, and life may be changing. And I think a lot of times there's hope that things won't change, that we can keep things normal. And what Walk with Sally has found is that a lot of times when cancer hits the family, things get really shaken up. And we are really becoming an organization that is putting our arms around the family and seeing how we can help.
Yeah.
So that's really...
You mentioned that the story, obviously, of being there when families find out about cancer and having to tell their children. I personally could not imagine telling my 2 little ones about, if myself or my husband had to deal with the impact of cancer. Personally, I've dealt with it from other family members, but I know, as children, it's just such an important life stage for them, and I know Walk with Sally is really here to help them through that and help them get through what is just such a devastating time.
Yeah, I always tell people, we don't want the kids to be defined through their cancer story. And when you're 10, 11, 12 years old, and you just want to be in a play, or you want to play soccer, in my case, chase girls or whatever it was, right? You don't just want to be defined as like the boy who has the mom who's bald.
Right.
And as you get older, be defined as the boy who lost his mom to cancer. And so I think we're trying to change how they look at future through the mentoring program and other things that we're doing with the community and activity events, which we'll be talking a little bit more about, and have them feel like they're known. Because when mom or dad hits, you mentioned you going through an experience, it would be awful.
Right.
But there's a lot of moms and dads that aren't together. They're divorced.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of parents who have a son who has cancer and another one that's normal. So how do you balance that? And then there's financial concerns. So we're dealing with a lot of families, and some of you that might be watching today are like, hey, I've been through that experience with my son or daughter. But add the financial stress or add divorce to the equation, and Walk with Sally talks about being there for the long haul through the entire spectrum of a child's life, not just for an event or a series of counseling, but actually through the entire part of a child's life. And I think that's kind of unique to what we do in our program.
Right. So speaking about the program and some of the things that Walk with Sally does, what are the different programs that Walk with Sally offers and how do they help those kids?
Yeah, I think Walk with Sally's got a really unique program set up in terms of our core value, our piece that is the mentoring piece, which is about bringing hope to kids. What is the mentoring program? It is an adult, probably someone that's watching today, that has had an impact, a story of cancer that's affected them. Whether you're 47 or 22 or 65, most of us, raise your hand if you've had a cancer story out there. You're probably going to be in a position of being able to mentor a child. And that core mentoring program really revolves around the relationship of the adult and the child, 6 to 8 hours a month for 1 year. And we know that 1 year is really that time in which, if we can go a year, we make a really positive impact. Under a year can be less impact, and in some cases under 6 months can be a negative impact. So Walk with Sally is really committed to the mentoring program, lasting a year. And good news, 80% of our relationships last for well over 2 years. And we're celebrating what, 10 years for some of the kids now?
Yes.
And
even more.
Even more, and which makes me older. That seems weird.
You haven't aged yet.
No, I'm still the same as when I founded it, when I was 33. But at the end of the day, that's really the core of Walk with Sally's program offering. The next one that I'm super proud of, which really just kind of complements the mentoring, is our activity events. Something that anybody can get involved with to volunteer. But an activity event is something that Walk with Sally produces. And it's a day to bring kids, families, and mentors all together on the same day. So most recently we did Jimmy Miller. We partnered locally with the Jimmy Miller Foundation, and we did an entire surf day.
Amazing.
And had, I think, 80 or 90?
Close to 100 participants there.
And
yeah.
I saw from just working the beach that I was working the beach, that we had families who had not yet signed on to the program, that are interested, that have been introduced to us through many of the schools in the LA County area. And so the activity events is an opportunity for families to see what is Walk with Sally. So certainly a way for other families to get involved. You don't have to be in the program to join in and see, can I be a part of this community? But most importantly is to watch the kids that are 7 to 17 building relationships with their peer groups. And so if you were to be there that day on the sand, you started to see the relationships and the friendships that are building. And when you've done some interviews with the kids where they've said, like, I feel like I'm a part of something.
A community.
Yeah. I've heard them say in these interviews.
It's incredible, some of the interactions where, two boys, for example, on a whale watching trip, found out through an introduction or icebreaker, one of them mentioned that his dad had passed away from cancer. And the other little boy had said, oh, hey, my dad had cancer too. And to them, it was this amazing awareness and exciting commonality, whereas to most people it would be kind of a sad situation, right? But for them it was uplifting, knowing that somebody else, a peer, could understand what they were going through.
Yeah, I think that by building community of kids, and not necessarily in a clinical setting or group therapy, which is really important, but just we're all about the fun. So to create an experiential day where we have access for the kids to doing things they've never done before, and then the core community piece is really something special about the activity event. So super proud of that program. Heart to Home is something we're super excited about. We had last Saturday, I think 4 mentor-mentee relationships. Here in our office, you can kind of pan a little bit, our little sweet baby office. We turned it into an art room where we have a art healing teacher who comes in and really works with the kids, most of which have just been recently matched with a mentor. And that art healing is about connecting the 2 mentor and mentee relationships that have just started. We do it once a quarter, and they are led through a series of art exercises to help express themselves. And a lot of people can express themselves in different ways. I tend to be someone who expresses themselves by being really quiet and introverted.
Oh, really?
No.
That's such a shock.
I express myself through friendships and fun and friendships. Other people need other outlets and tools in which to express themselves. So the children are really walked through with a professional, and they spend 2 hours really drawing and communicating and observing and working through and again, more community, more connectedness.
And a shout out to Drika Lobo, who's the artist who has been helping us create these projects for all the kids the last few quarters, and have just come together with some really beautiful things.
We had something at White Light that was, if you were at White Light this year, it was the heart mural that the kids had helped create, kind of heart, hope, and light. And so it was kind of fun to see that. And then just kind of moving on with our programs, we have a temporary family support program, and this is really a piece that we're really developing when a family, as we talked about, runs into crisis. Single mom here last week in our home, in our office, who is living in a back house of her family's in Cerritos, and her ability to really afford some of the treatment that she's going through. And so recently we awarded that family our little boy Edson, who's in our program, who's 8. Edson wants me to get a Tesla.
Edson is obsessed with Teslas.
Teslas,
yes. Wants to know if anybody in the office has one, which in fact we don't. So Tesla, if you're looking for a sponsorship opportunity, give us a call.
Could use a Tesla for our kids. So really just being observant of some of the families that are in dire financial need. And so some of the donations and you attending events have gone towards providing temporary family support. In this case, we awarded Edson's mom $1,000 over the course of the next 3 months, and that'll go towards some utilities, some cancer supplies, as well as just probably some back to school stuff for Edson. So it's a process that we go through to make sure that this money is going to be used in the right place, but a really exciting program that we're developing, and something that most people probably don't know that we are involved with. And then Molly's Corner, really a long-term program that allows for us to give books and education to families who have kids that can't be mentored because they're too young, 4 or 5 years old, 6 years old. Our youngest mentee is 7. So we'd like to have books and materials and also journals for our mentors through Molly's Corner.
Help them go through the friendship. Yeah.
So it's really just a great way to help families initially have the conversation and educate them through our books and our materials to say, we've got something for you that can help you start the conversation.
Right.
And
even after, I know, speaking of kind of financial support, even after some of our mentors or mentees age out of our program, they're eligible for
scholarship.
The French Future Scholarship.
So French Future, kind of excited. 2 years now that we've built it. We've got some money that's been set aside from the donations and separate fundraising through one of our advisory board members, Maureen McBride, who's been an honorary advisory board member for quite some time. And so now we've got some money that is finally set aside because our kids are starting to age out. Some of these kids were matched when they were 10, and now they're about to go to college. So we've started to address, their leadership process. How do we build them into more leadership and then have them earn the right to get a scholarship? So really exciting there. And then of course, Hope for the Holidays is coming up. And that's really our last sort of side project that we do as a program to look at families that may need an extra TLC, an extra Santa support. And so we look to adopt families. So if you're looking right now and saying, what can we do for the holidays? Contact Walk with Sally through our website, walkwithsally.org. Hope for the Holidays is coming up. And it's a way for you to adopt a family and get things that they want and things that they need. And so we have several families on that list. And we're hoping to adopt, a good portion of our families this holiday. So, so those are our programs.
It's a great endeavor. I mean, you just named, 6, 7, 8 different programs. How is it possible? I mean, what kind of a staff are we working with here, and how do we continue to offer so many things, just not just to the children, but clearly to the families too?
Well, I think what happens behind the scenes here is a full business, almost a startup operation in terms of working with about $750,000 budget and saying, what can we do to provide these programs and services? We're about to hit 100 families under case management, which means that on a daily basis we know what each of those families are working with and where are they in the cancer spectrum. Did mom just die? Is dad just get diagnosed? So really understanding where each of those families are and where is the mentor who's been matched. So ultimately you've got sort of two different departments. You've got the program side and you've got the development side. So program, working on all the things that we talked about, from matching to training. What does it take to build a friendship? A friendship, we call a friendship a mentor and a mentee. So we have 100 friendships. And a mentor to mentee takes a process of sometimes a month to 4 months to build. So you're training a mentor here in our office. Next week, or this weekend, we'll have 11 people training to be mentors. Hot tip, we had a bachelor from the Bachelorette contestant that did his training.
Dean, who's also
I'll tell you. God, you went quick to give that one.
Sorry.
I was gonna be like, we'll tell you in the next session.
Oh yes, tune in next time for more.
We'll go into that more. But anyway, we're seeing people from all over LA County because we're helping so many kids throughout LA County. Our program now, staff consists of 4 full-time staff members who are working with the families on a daily basis, getting intake, working with schools to build stronger relationships, because most of our referrals come through the schools. So they spend a lot of their time planning those activity events. They're one every quarter, so they have to be produced, and Walk with Sally is producing those events. And then we get a lot of community support for bonus activities. So Lakers games, Kings games, tickets that are given to us that we still have to get RSVPs for, the Nutcracker and different things. So we've got a lot of resources that we're tapping into, but those take a lot of time to build and trust. So that's kind of our program side. They're building those friendships, they're executing on our promises for the families. They're working with families on a daily basis with crisis. They're helping mentors make sure they hit their year. Round tables for the mentors, and regular ongoing reporting back to us to say, how is the relationship going? So there's a lot involved with training, matching, and sustaining.
Yes. That communication and support that comes from the program staff is
you just can't match.
Right.
And volunteers are special people, and they put a lot into giving their time. And we want to make sure that their time's valuable as well. And sometimes they get stuck and things happen, and we've got to be there to get them, through the hoops. So that's that side. And then Walk with Sally, the little engine that could, has, I work on both sides as the CEO, so I'm working half on program and half over in the development side. And so we have Paige Sachs, who, what do you do?
Everything. No, I do special events, and communications. And under the communications field, some of the marketing that you see here with Walk with Sally too. So all of our fundraisers, all of our like White Light, White Night, our Friendship Bowl coming up, our 1 hour long cycle, kettlebell challenge that's coming up in October.
Breast cancer awareness,
any impact stories, emails. Typically if you're getting an email, it might come from me. So I hope you like it, hope you enjoy it. If you don't, let me know.
Yeah.
We can make some changes to that. Want to make sure you're getting the information that you want to see.
Feel good stories.
Yeah, so wear a couple hats here at Walk with Sally.
So definitely fundraising is something that we sustain ourselves with and are self-sufficient. And then we work with Michelle on the development side, who's working for the first time on fully executing our grants throughout the country and working on finding money outside of the fundraising. And so ultimately a long-term project. We've gotten very technologically savvy at Walk with Sally. We've become paperless for the most part. And so ultimately...
environmentally friendly.
Very. And also more efficient, because we have the little engine here that could.
Yeah.
So I think being more efficient with our time and having development, working with the grants, working on long-term vision, and corporate sponsors. Just really addressing the needs of the corporate sponsors. All of our corporate partners, Skechers, Jaguar, Plaza Bank, these folks all need regular check-ins and honestly, like Kendra Scott, understanding what their needs are. So you really need to have a point person in that respect. And so yeah, that's kind of the structure of this organization. We just added our 7th staff person since the success of White Light. We'll have a new program person, Autumn Haber, who will be, is Autumn right there?
Can you see her?
Can you see her? She waved. She's like, Deanne's just like, yeah. And so Autumn is going to be taking over really about the volunteers, something that I think people should know, that volunteering as a mentor is one aspect of volunteering, but volunteering in general, we have so many people that are on our committees that have had such a great time getting to know each other, creating a community of fun. We're working with the FTK, which is For the Kids Social Club, which is really a new and fun way for young at heart people to get together under the guise of Walk with Sally and produce more volunteer hours. People that want to work at the events, people that want to do a day of for the activity events, surf with a kid for the day, but don't necessarily want to participate in the mentoring program. So Autumn's going to be developing all of those processes. We get volunteers from all over Los Angeles and Orange County who want to participate. We need to figure out how to get them into circulation, how to train, and how to understand what do you want as a volunteer. So if you're interested in volunteering, going through the walkwithsally.org website is a great first place to start, and then Autumn and her team will start to figure out, is there a training, what's an event that's coming up that we can use your help, and developing leaders. We need more leaders inside of Walk with Sally that are volunteers.
Absolutely, yeah. So,
how did I do on that?
That was a great explanation.
And I just wanted the plants.
Operate here.
That's all I do. That's it.
This is Wilbur.
That's Wilbur.
Our famous tree that we just decorated.
We're getting ready for a Christmas campaign, so don't mind
that. You know, talking about how we operate, but what are some of the outcomes? Like, what are, now that Walk with Sally has been around for 12, 13 years, what are some of the outcomes from some people that have been in the program?
I would say the biggest outcome for us is looking at how do we grow Los Angeles County and seeing it getting bigger outside of the South Bay and taking on more schools through LAUSD, for example, and really understanding how do we sustain that growth. When you all of a sudden open up schools in East LA and South Central, we need to be prepared for that growth. So some of the outcomes for me, outside of the families we're helping, are the fact that we added a bilingual position 2 years ago, which was a huge part. And I think the outcome of that has been that more Spanish-speaking families have become a part of this organization through that connection, because before
that support,
it wasn't happening as much or as rapidly as it is now. So we really have to be prepared for that. And other impacts that I've seen, not only expanding our reach, is the personal effect that we're having on these families. And so this year you saw Chris, our mentor, with Patrick, our mentee, sort of quote unquote graduate from the program or age out. But watching Patrick since he was about 9 or 10 years old grow up in front of our eyes. His mom dies 3 years after he starts the program. So it was one of the first kids that I had seen who started when his mom was sick. His mom dies, and then he's still with us. His father being a single parent and raising 2 children, and watching Patrick now graduate from high school up in Lincoln Heights, and with an incredible mentor, Chris Martinez, who really dedicated himself after his dad died of pancreatic cancer. So watching him graduate, wanting to become a fireman, earning a scholarship through Walk with Sally, and now going to LACC for his first 2 years while he studies the intern program at the fire department. I know that's not possible without Walk with Sally putting our arms around him and his sister Samantha, and her mentor Danielle.
And it's an amazing story too. And if you haven't had a chance, check out our YouTube page, Walk with Sally 1. There's a video of Chris and Patrick on there that we showed at White Night this year, and it documents their story and their journey together as a mentor and mentee, and it's pretty moving.
Yeah, and fun fact, she was on maternity leave. We've also gotten all of our videos moved over to our Walk with Sally website as well, so you can actually see a lot of videos of other stories, Ben and Max and their story and their journey over the last 8 years, other stories of impact that we've been making, and all different, whether it's a young boy or a young girl, whether it's a mom with cancer, a dad with cancer, or a sibling with cancer. Each of these stories really is different, and they're all in different parts of Los Angeles. I think a fun fact that a lot of people don't realize is that we have kids throughout LA County. And so we're now dealing with families in Temescal Canyon, families in Burbank, a few families in Orange County. So really a lot of room to cover. So I think impact-wise, we're getting to see a story every week come up of love and happiness and hope for the future. When we saw Edson's mom come in this week to get a check, she was just overjoyed that she was going to have a little extra money to pay for her bladder cancer and all the services that she's going to need for that. So it was really cool to have her here in the office this week and see that the fundraising and what you guys have done to support us, whether it's through love, through sharing, or through your own financial commitment to the organization, that no child's going to walk alone when they face cancer.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you want everybody to know about Walk with Sally?
I think that most importantly is just a call to action for everybody. If you've been impacted by cancer, if you just love kids, if you've been interested in volunteering, and you don't know really what it looks like, I think the most important thing you should know is that we have a ton of fun at Walk with Sally, and we're not about cancer and being depressed. We're about changing the conversation and really having fun. And that starts from the top down. And so the relationships that we're having, so in terms of community, if you're looking for a fun place to just be involved, jump in, and those of you that are watching that know what it was like when you first came to the organization and now you have a ton of new best friends, getting involved with FTK Social Club. There's so many different ways that you can kind of dip your toe in the water or fully dive in, because we'll take you. Just to know that this is a really incredible community and a fun place to start your volunteer experience.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for the time. Thank you for spending. I said this is a 3-part series. Our next Meet the Founders session will be on Wednesday, October 11th, again at 3 p.m.
What are we talking about?
Here on Facebook Live. We're talking more about you. We're going to get a little deep, Nick, and talk about your story and sort of how Walk with Sally came to be. So
those of you that want to start your own nonprofit, you're going to want to tune in on that one just to see why in the heck anyone would ever want to create their own nonprofit.
So if you have any questions, you want us to answer them, put it here on our Facebook page or shoot on over to our YouTube channel
Ask
as well.
questions.
Let us know. We'll answer them here. We might even answer you quicker on Facebook. But be sure to check us out at Walk with Sally on all of our social media channels as well. And
Like
until
us on
next
Facebook
time.
and all that good stuff, yes.
Yeah.
Thank
Until
you.
next time.
Paige, great job.
Thanks.
I think
Thank
you have a
you.
good career.
Savannah Guthrie here.